Good afternoon, esteemed judges and the respected audience. I am the first speaker of the proposition team. So the given motion is this House supports, in emerging industries, this House supports policies that prioritize creation of green jobs, promote sustainable economic growth. So we have two main points today. Our first point is the environment protection sustainability. This contains renewable energy infrastructure, ecosystem restoration, climate change mitigation. So the renewable energy infrastructure it will all lead to public health and quality life, and our second speaker, Iqbal, will further on elaborate on further on more. Our second point is long-term economical benefits. Cost-saving and efficiency technology innovational not only benefits short-term economy, it also benefits long-term economic. To look deeply in our first point, the promoting sustainable economic growth. Advocates argue that green jobs are essential for sustainable economic growth. By investigating in renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and eco-friendly technologies, not only are new jobs are created, but these industries are also helping to reduce environmental impact of economical growth. Second, future-proofing the economy. With the increasing global focus on climate change and environmental sustainability, green jobs are seen as future-proof occupations. Supporting these industries now prepares the workforce for the future global economy. Reducing carbon footprint. Green jobs often involve the production and use clean, renewable source of energy. This reduces greenhouse gas emissions and helps to combat climate change. Aligning economic growth with environmental conservation. Health and social benefits. Green jobs can lead improved health due to reduced pollution. This is result to lower healthcare costs and healthier workforce, which are beneficial for the economy. So, fifth point, innovation and competitiveness. Investigating in green jobs can support innovation in new technologies and practices. This can give competitive edge on global market, especially as more countries move towards environmental sustainable practice. So, in conclusion, all these 5 points are supporting that. If we support the policies of the prioritized creation of green jobs to promote economical growth, there will be plenty of advantages that it actually outweighs the disadvantages. Okay.
This is a short-term solution as well. How is it exactly effective in the short term?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
You mentioned that investing in green jobs is a short-term solution as well. But how is it short-term? How realistic is that?
In short-term economical, it actually benefits by giving people new jobs and.
Excuse me. I asked how, not what will happen afterwards.
What do you mean?
How will this be realized in the short term?
By making more jobs for people that are not capable of, that do not have the job right now. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, honorable House members, thank you for the opportunity to present the opposition's perspective on the motion at hand. So, let us begin by acknowledging the commendable intent behind the proposition's vision for a more sustainable future. However, the opposition contends that while the creation of green jobs is certainly a noble pursuit, it may not be most effective or realistic solution to achieve sustainable economic growth. Our arguments rest on the principles of economic realism, global competitiveness, and need for balanced approach. Firstly, we assert that an exclusive focus on green jobs may be economically unrealistic and burdensome, particularly for small and middle-sized enterprises. While we appreciate the environmental benefits of green industries, the opposition emphasizes the potential strain on businesses that may struggle to adapt to these changes. Mandating the prioritization of green jobs without considering the economic feasibility for all sectors could lead to job losses, stifle entrepreneurship, and hinder overall economic growth. Moreover, the proposition's vision may overlook the global competitiveness of our industries. In an interconnected world, industries must remain competitive on the international stage. If our policies place excessive burdens on businesses to conform to green standards without equivalent global commitments, we risk losing competitiveness. This could result in outsourcing the countries with fewer environmental regulations, ultimately undermining the environmental goals we seek to achieve. Secondly, we argue that the exclusive emphasis on green jobs may lead to unintended social consequences, such as job displacement and economic inequality. The rapid transition to green industries could result in the displacement of workers from traditional sectors, causing economic hardships for communities dependent on those industries. It is crucial to consider the social implications and potential job losses that may accompany a swift and unilateral shift towards green job prioritization. So additionally, our opposition contends that the proposition's focus on green jobs may not be the most effective way to address urgent environmental concerns. Rather than emphasizing a top-down approach to creating green jobs, we propose more pragmatic and comprehensive strategy. This includes investing in research and development for cleaner technologies and incentivizing business to adopt environmentally friendly practices gradually. Furthermore, we underscore the importance of acknowledging the limitations of current green technologies. While they represent a crucial step towards sustainability, they may not be universally applicable or entirely free from environmental impacts. Relying solely on green jobs might divert attention from investing breakthroughs technologies that could offer more holistic solutions to our environmental challenges. In conclusion, while we acknowledge the importance of environmental sustainability, we propose a strategy that fosters economic growth while gradually transitioning to greener practices. This includes intensifying innovation, supporting research and development, and ensuring a fair and inclusive transition for workers in traditional industries. Let us strive for a pragmatic and comprehensive solution that respects economic realism and promotes a sustainable future for all. Thank you.
Let's say a reasonably intelligent person. Let's say that this reasonably intelligent person defined something or action, that takeable action, is beneficial to the environment. Let's say that person has defined every single action that would further be helping climate change. Okay. Let's say that there was these actions that were able to combat climate change. And then why we don't take it? If we know that such actions could help even the littlest bit, even the most littlest bit, help and address climate change, why wouldn't we take it? Why would we not take any actions that were not going to combat climate change? We should be taking every single action that should address climate change because it is such a problem. We already know all of the hurtful things, heartbreaking things that has happened to us. And I'm saying that we should be taking every single action that would further combat climate change, including green jobs. The topic, emerging industries, this House supports policies that prioritize the creation of green jobs to promote sustainable economic growth. Companies want to be green. They also want to be growing economically. Companies want to be environmentally beneficial and also want to be growing economically. These two things they have said that could not be combined, but they actually can. Through, what is it now? Green jobs. We have made that 5 points for this. Promoting sustainable economic growth. Okay, green jobs are essential for sustainable economic growth. If companies didn't actually implement this, it wouldn't be as good as companies that actually implement this such economic growthly action that could take. And companies want to be accepted by society that they want to be green. IKEA, for example, has stated that they would be economically green 100% by recycling and reducing their carbon emission, anything that they could ever do for being climately beneficial. And other companies should actually see this as an encouragement. People should actually demand this. What I'm saying people is people who are going to do the jobs, the green jobs. Let's take just an example. We are consumers. We demand products. Let's say that I want to buy a cloth. I want to buy a cloth that is made from other nations. Let's say that I live in Mongolia, that I want to buy a cloth from Zara that's from America. Let's say that this product or cloth is going to fly all the way from America to here. And that is going to be, just by my choice, that is going to create so many problems. And what I'm trying to say is, companies having more green job way could actually solve this problem. Let's say that if a clothing company has been localized, let's say a clothing company did not actually exist and we're not dependent on outside sources, but actually in their country. Let's say that this country had these companies that provided themselves. This means less transportation. This means clean transportation. By just enabling this green job, they could solve problems like carbon emitted by transportation, which are localized companies. Okay. We have also found some evidence that I'll talk about right now. Prioritizing green jobs in emerging industries. Economic growth through green jobs. The European Commission reported that the transition to a green economy would create 24 million new jobs globally by 2030, offsetting the loss of around 6 million jobs in traditional industries. 2. Reduction in carbon emission. The International Labour Organization, or ILO, states that a shift to green jobs could reduce CO2 emissions by about 36 gigatons by 2030, significantly contributing to climate change mitigation. And why are we not taking this? Why are they discouraging this action? That is absurd. Green jobs. Investing in green jobs can spur innovation in new technologies and practices. This can give competitive edge in the global market, especially as more countries move towards environmentally sustainable practice. Thank you.
Side opposition has given you 4 main arguments. Our first argument is that it's uncertain if it'll work, if investing or if supporting policies of green job increasing will work. It's uncertain. Our second argument is that these policies can disrupt the market, especially because they're emerging industries. It was in the prompt. The third is that these policies not only disrupt the market, but it can create social issues, such as polarization in job markets. And our fourth argument is that corruption is an issue, and that policies like these are very hard to implement because of these issues. Now, side proposition has attempted to answer my POI that I asked. I asked, how is it a short-term solution? And they were unable to answer how exactly it's going to work in the short term. Therefore, it is, on one side, ineffective. We believe that job polarization, is a huge issue. What exactly is job polarization? If you remember the first member of Team Opposition, job polarization is when the skills required of an individual in the labor market is reduced. So if green jobs are more increased, then existing jobs are going to be threatened. What's going to happen to those people? They're going to be unemployed, and that's going to create another issue that we have to tackle. This is like putting out a fire, but not putting out the fire that's right behind you. This is just creating more issues. Now, side proposition has mentioned that supporting these policies will drive innovation.
But I disagree. Green jobs right now is very precarious. It's more expensive to invest in green technology than to just use oil and gas. Because of that, countries themselves are unwilling to do this. Because let's say, for example, China all of a sudden just stops manufacturing in an ungreen way, and they all of a sudden just start investing into green infrastructure. Green jobs. That's not going to work because their competitors, like the US, they're going to overtake China because it is an economically unviable option, currently speaking. And moreover, we're talking. I wonder if side proposition has even heard the motion that we're speaking about. The motion specifically stated that in emerging industries, should we support policies that promote green job? We're not talking exactly going against green job. We're not saying that we're not saying go against green jobs. We're saying that the policies to achieve increased number of green jobs is insufficient and inefficient. Which leads me to my next argument, that government policies like these are going to disrupt the market. Basic economic theory states that if you subsidize or if you tamper with the economy in any sort of way, that's going to create another issue that must be solved. So let's say, for example, the electric car industry. Let's say the US all of a sudden starts investing in electric cars using subsidies. Well, if you subsidize, then that's going to create further issues down the line because subsidized industries are dependent on the subsidies. They're unable to function on themselves. So this becomes a drag on the coffers of the national treasury. This creates a future problem as well. Now, another thing that side proposition's second member said was that we must take every single option possible, that we must extend all of our possibilities and take them. I say this is simply unrealistic and naive. We have limited money and we have limited resources. We cannot tackle every single policies at the same time. This is just not possible, and side proposition is giving us a solution that's unrealistic. Now, he also said that green jobs are essential. I agree. We agree. We're not saying that green jobs are bad. We're saying that the policies or the way by which to achieve them is inefficient, and we should let the market figure it out because the market is ultimately better at allocating resources efficiently. What solution are we proposing then? Our solution is to take attention away from useless endeavors like this and to focus on direct investment and to tackle ungreen industries, shutting them down. We propose something realistic, they do not. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing the devastating impacts of climate change, biodiversity and loss and environmental degradation, and the need for a transition to a green economy has never been more pressing. Our team rise today to firmly support the motion that endorses policies prioritizing the creation of green jobs. So what is green jobs? Green jobs are positions that focus on protecting the environmental, reducing waste, conserving natural resources, and creating more sustainable ways of living and working. Green jobs are essential in addressing our current environmental challenges and ensuring a sustainable for generations to come. The great examples of green jobs are solar installers, environmental engineers, and as the opposition team stated, that the green jobs will be job displacement. It will cause unemployment, but creating more jobs, environmentally friendly jobs especially, wouldn't it actually be more help when combating unemployment? The opposition expresses concerns about implementing complications. The first speaker implied that the policies It is essential to understand that the right policies can strike a balance between environmental stewardship and individual liberties. Responsible policy making and empower citizens to make informed choices without necessarily infringing on their freedoms. While it's true that poorly executed policies can be met with resistance, the solution lies in effective communication and in inclusivity. Our House believes that thoughtfully developed policies, especially those addressing environmental challenges, can be a unifying force that brings communities together. By emphasizing education, collaborations, and inclusivity, we can cultivate a society that not only accepts but actively embraces policies aimed at securing a sustainable and resilient future for all. The topic emphasizes the creation of green jobs. Prioritizing the creation of green jobs. Do we have to prioritize it or do we not have to prioritize it? The creation of green jobs is making more environmentally friendly, but also solving the problem of unemployment. By prioritizing these problems, by prioritizing green jobs, we can tackle down tons of different issues that are facing right now as I speak. Thank you.
3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to stand before you as the third speaker of Team Opposition. Throughout this debate, we have talked about whether or not implementing policies for green jobs will help climate change, will help the economy grow into a more sustainable future. However, there are more notions that will make green jobs and this artificial implementation of green jobs actually more harmful to the economy and more harmful to that country societally. First of all, these green jobs need new sectors of technology, such as renewable technology. This technology is inherently more costly than the current technologies and systems we have now. Not only is this cost detrimental to current countries that are reliant on these older systems, these older industries, it is completely unrealistic. For example, Mongolia, we rely on the coal industry. Trying to shift away from the coal industry to a completely new industry with new technology will not only be detrimental to the current coal workers, it will create job loss, it will create poverty, and it may even increase crime rates because of those consequences. Secondly, artificially prioritizing these green jobs will naturally harm emerging industries, just as Opposition Team Member 2 has stated. These will disincentivize other emerging industries, other new small businesses, because of these emerging and disastrous costs. The third issue that we will speak of is, again, of job polarization. These green jobs require a new set of skills, a new set of knowledge that most people do not currently have. Because of this, ungreen jobs, such as those in the coal industry, such as those in the mining industry, will lose its significance. Again, this will lead to job loss. It will lead to economic disparity. We do not want that. We need other options. The fourth point that we will speak of is of policies. These policies may indeed be inherently corrupt, because in Mongolia we have an example of this. Recently, we released a few policies about buses, eco-buses, the 2-layer buses that we got and implemented from Korea. Instead of efficiently implementing them into our transport system, corrupt individuals and those higher up in the system took that money and created not only economic disparity in the long run, it created social disadvantages. Instead, again, We cannot risk innocent workers. We cannot risk those in poor countries reliant on these ungreen, quote-unquote, ungreen industries to lose their lifelong jobs in a hope to address climate change. Because we have other options, more effective options that can address climate change more effectively. Those options include directly investing in more green technology instead of artificially trying to allow green jobs to enter the economy. By investing in greener technology, by developing sustainable industry research, we can create an economy that's more gradual so that newer generations, can adapt to this newer technology. Not only that, it will be less costly in the long run by directly investing in these industries, and can allow people to train their employees more than directly artificially implementing these green jobs in our society. Thank you.
Now, throughout this debate, I think side opposition has been pretty clear. We're talking about if we should support policies that increase green jobs. We're not talking about if we should increase green jobs. We're talking about the policies, the how, not the why. But side proposition did not understand that. So from the very beginning, they haven't given concrete or substantial arguments in favor of policies to support green jobs. We have highlighted the ineffectiveness of policies. These policies can disrupt the market, the labor market specifically. It creates job polarization, and it creates further problems down the line. Now, moreover, side proposition has been unable to address several of our arguments, specifically the one about competition and the one about poor countries. So let's take the poor countries example first. Our team member number 3 has stated, and our team member number 1 has stated, that poor countries are unable to effectively implement these green job policies because it's just unviable for them. They're dependent, they're hooked upon these fossil fuel industries. So if all of a sudden they start to shift away from these dependent industries, they will be left with nothing in return. They're going to make a loss. And moreover, on the other argument of competition, countries, big countries specifically, are simply unwilling to implement these policies. It's an unrealistic solution. We cannot depend on countries to all of a sudden change their policies. Because I gave you the example of China and the USA. China will not indulge in green jobs because it's going to make the US stronger, because of the simple truth that right now fossil fuel industries are stronger and cheaper. The same goes for the USA. They have effectively rebutted that argument. However, we have given several issues. I would like to reinforce opposition member 3 on our side. She gave the example of corruption. We simply cannot trust policies because corruption is a huge issue. The funds used towards these policies can be allocated in a way that we do not want to. We already given an alternate solution. Instead of policies, we can trust the market because the market is more efficient over time. People will demand green products in the longer run because of the harmful consequences of climate change. And when people do realize that, when demand is like that, when demand for green technology and green industries grows, because they're an emerging economy, you got to realize that it's an emerging economy. When that happens, demand is going to increase, and so will prices go down, and so will more firms enter the market. I would like to end this debate by saying that side opposition has successfully rebutted side proposition, while they have not. Thank you.
Let me remind you the points that we have made. These are 5 points. Promoting sustainable economic growth, future-proofing the economy, reducing carbon footprint, health and social benefits, innovation and competitiveness. These are the things that could be achieved in emerging districts. These are the things that we could achieve if we support policies that prioritize the creation of green jobs to promote sustainable economic growth. Now, throughout this debate, I've been trying to comprehend their points. I wanted to rebut as much as I can, but I wasn't just quite able to grasp their points and arguments. However, I was able to get several points that have made to the reply speech that has said. Okay. They have said that the poor could not actually implement this policy. And there are cases where this is not just applicable. However, are you discouraging that? No, of course not. People who can, or countries, or policies, or governments, everything that can apply green job could actually apply them. Okay, so the things that could apply the green job should actually be doing that. That's what I'm trying to say. Those who cannot, just cannot. That doesn't mean that those who can accept this and they can push green jobs shouldn't be taking this action. And they have said that those companies are not willing to be more green. They said that they're not willing to implement this policy of green jobs to promote it. But another point that they made about they're not willing is that corruption. But corruption is not really a problem. That could be easily solved through our support. Through our support, we can battle corruption. We can make these changes. We can implement these policies by our support. That's why the topic in emerging industries, this house supports policies. I emphasize on the support because we are supporting it. It's not because that it has happened. We are supporting it to happen. And they have said that these policies are actually harming the environment, harming the market, economically not beneficial or disrupt, and also job displacement, but actually they have provided no evidence. I wasn't able to actually believe in their argument because they haven't provided any evidence or historical past event, but we have. But in my speech that I've said about 2 and 3 evidences: economic feasibility and costs, potential job losses to traditional industries by those has been made. They have actually said that I didn't actually provide an example, but actually did about the IKEA. This company actually is and are willing to be more green, and therefore we should prioritize that.
Very much, guys, and I just want to say that we want to take an opportunity now, which you've probably already experienced, where we as judges kind of share some feedback for you guys, and basically things that we thought you did really well, and then maybe some areas for improvement. And so I think we're just going to each say one thing about each person. Somehow we're going to make this work. Okay? So let me go back to the beginning. I guess we'll follow the order here. So Ildivottir, I wanted to say first of all that yes, like I mentioned earlier, this was quite a surprise, and you were the first person who had to go, so that was tough. But still, you were very confident. Somehow you mustered the confidence. You had quite good eye contact. And I mean, the only thing I thought was really detracting was, and this might have just been nervousness from the beginning, you kept clicking your pen. And so that noise of click, 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 click was kind of interrupting you. So just be careful about holding something, because it could be a sort of a distraction for you. Yeah.
Oh, I go next?
Sure.
Yeah, I also agree. You had a lot of confidence, even though you did not prepare quickly enough because of the sudden change. Yeah, I also agree. Pretty good work.
Yeah, we felt that you were quite nervous because of this short notice, the topic change. But you will try your best to manage it well, and I hope that this can give you a good opportunity for you to improve for your management of your emotion, and which will help you deliver your speech quite well in the future. So this is a good opportunity, and I hope you take a good experience out of it.
Okay, and then Salung, right? And so first of all, I wanted to say, I think you praised the opposing side, right? And I thought that was excellent. Well done. Because you praised them and then you critiqued them. You had something to say in light of that. That's a very effective technique because your reputation in the eyes of the audience will increase because you did that. Besides the fact that it's a nice thing to do. But yes, I think if I had to say there was one area for you to improve, because there's a lot to say positive, but one area for you to improve was that I think you started speaking too quickly, and it became hard for you to breathe in the middle of everything you were trying to give to us, right? All the information. So just pause and take your time. I think for the audience, it may feel like it's taking a long time for you, but when you pause, it can sit with us better, and we can appreciate it before you give us more. And so we can better appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah, I think your delivery was really good, but from my side, I couldn't really hear you. I kind of had to like move up a little bit more. I don't think it's completely your fault. I feel like some people do have timid voices, and yeah, I agree with what he said as well. I could have gone a little bit slower. Yeah.
Yeah. So I realized that you have listened to the other team when you were even preparing. So you were mentioning some of the statements from your previous team, which is good, and you were, backing up your facts with other people's facts, right? Which is good that you're not only speaking your opinion, but you were trying to oppose it with the fact, which is good. But thing is the same as what the other judges are saying. You were too fast, and although you were mentioning such a good statements, it was really hard to differentiate them, which area are you supporting or opposing, and it's quite difficult for us to catch up with what is it, stick up, each sentence were sticked up when it's ending, when it's starting, we cannot tell the difference. Therefore, when you are trying to strike with some statements, it were not really were hard. Not really hard. That's what I realized. So next time when you are speaking, you can actually slow down. Slowing down does not mean that you have to be always slow, but when you are trying to make some statements, you can pause and then you can go on. That will be a good add for your good points.
Great. And then Iqbal, so you had very good eye contact, you were confident, and then I thought, kind of the way you were appealing to people was like an appeal to reason. You were trying to reason with people, and that seemed to be the substance of your argument. It was very reasonable, almost appealing to the people themselves, that kind of thing. I think that you started off with something that was effective at the beginning, the let's say this and let's say that, but then you started to depend upon that structure, that sort of linguistic structure too much. It came up again a number of times in the speech you were giving, and so just be careful. If you're going to do that, it's good. Do it once and then leave it alone after that, because that will be more, you'll have a greater impact upon the people who are listening to you, and they will appreciate better what you've done, I think.
Yeah, I also agree with what Chris says. You actually, you were very captivating in the first part, but then you kind of lingered and tried to keep that momentum going, and I think you ran out of ideas of how to keep that momentum going. So I would say the same thing. Just do it once, but don't overdo it.
Yeah, I agree with that, Chris and Alice. The style you're trying to grab other people's attention is actually correct and right. That's how you can, relate with other people, especially for the audience. It's a relativity, which is really good. But thing is, the facts you're trying to mention were not really strong enough. Even though your style is good, your content was kind of not matching with the style. So what I'm suggesting is, take care of your style, also for the content. Content is really important. So how you're going to strike with the facts is also really important. So you take care of that, and also listen to other judges. What they're advising is really good addition for your future skills.
Okay, Chingun. So it was very clear. You maintained eye contact almost the entire time. And from that, it was clear you knew what you were talking about. So you were knowledgeable, and that gave you a certain authority as well to what you were saying. So it's very good. And there was smooth transition. You moved very smoothly from each thing, and there was structure there that was easy to see. The one thing that occurred to me, and I'm not sure if I missed this, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. You knew what each person had said on the other side and on your own side, but in terms of what you were arguing, there was no attribution that you gave to any particular source to back yourself up. Is that right? I don't think you mentioned any particular report or anything like that. Right, okay, yes. Yeah, so that would really add to your authority. It's clear you know what you're talking about, but if you can just pull from someone else who has that greater weight, you know, that sort of those credentials or experience or that kind of authority in the eyes of the public, and pull from that and show these people back up exactly what I'm saying, then people they'll add that authority to you. So just try to refer to some outside source. Yeah.
Yeah, I also agree with what he said. I feel like I'm just agreeing with everything you're saying.
That's not good.
But I also really liked how you brought up the POI, that they were not able to answer, which I think was very good strategy. It really solidified your authority a bit further as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Not much things to say because you said everything.
Sorry.
It's okay, it's okay. So therefore we have to think a different thing as well, which is actually really good for all of you, because we have to think even more what's missing over there, which is good. So you're denying with an example, which is really good. Realize that you were listening the other team quite attentively. Therefore you have some materials to work with. It's really good. That is for the content-wise. And as far as style-wise, I felt like your narrative is a little bit bland. Therefore, you can actually work with that. You know, make it more richer. Have to grab other people's attention. You have a really good foundation, and you can work with a little bit with yourself, and it will be really, pleasant to watch, pleasant to listen to you. That's what I've realized.
So I'm trying to remember how you did this at the beginning. You acknowledged them in some particular way. I think it was quite early on. You acknowledged something that was right about what they were saying. Do you remember this? No? Okay, that's all right. You said something, and you set it up in such a way that you acknowledged fully the weight of what they were saying, and it came across as very genuine. And because you did this, what you then had to say had extra weight. You were building off of what they had said and finding common ground with them, and then showing where the weakness was of what they were saying. I thought that was really well done. That is always a very effective way to acknowledge your opponent and then follow up with, okay, but given that's the case, there is this weakness here. And that's kind of how you approached it, even if you don't remember. So as far as the weakness that I wanted to say, it was actually also that there was, as far as I know, no attribution to an external source to back you up. That was sort of something common across the board, except with one person. I didn't mention it yet, but yeah, so just be careful with that. It will give you more authority. Otherwise, we just have to take everyone's word for it, right? So this is for almost everybody here. We like you, but we need to know that you know what other people have said too. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything. I have nothing more to add.
Yeah, mine is that it's the same thing, but in a different wording. Is that what I felt when you were speaking is that the content you're preparing, the material, is less developed. That's what I realized. But other things, that how you're delivering your speech is quite steady, which is really good, and it's really pleasant to watch you. That you have this pause and everything, not really fast, which is a good foundation. And also you were questioning the opposition team with the correct questions. You have everything right, but I feel like you have to work with the material very well, and you have to mention some facts, that your both outside and inside will be amazing in the future.
Sara, so I'm going to try not to say too much, but I thought it was good that you went from giving generic examples that it's good to give generic examples, but you went further than that. You went to a very specific example of the green bus situation, right, in Mongolia. And that was very, very helpful, because it's easier to relate and take seriously a very specific example like that, rather than something that just anybody could say. It sounds like you know what you're talking about, and here's the concrete evidence of it, So I thought that was good. I did think you were speaking too fast as well, and you can take time, just pause. Otherwise you find it hard for you to breathe, and it's also hard for us to take it in.
Yeah, I also agree with what he said. I also noticed you were stuttering just a little bit, so yeah, I think you should slow down a bit as well. I also liked your choice of words, really good use of words. I can't remember which one specifically, but it was very good. And your examples as well were very relatable.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You were mentioning some logical explanation, which is quite relatable, and you were not thinking talking about other countries' issue, but it's right here is which is happening, and then we are quite aware about the topic, and you mentioned it in such a right time, which is actually helpful for your materials to support up the facts, and it's not only for the general topics, but it's more close to down to earth, which is quite good. And local issues, you mentioned it. It's really how we're not talking about global issues. It's happening right here. That's actually really good topics. But as other judges were saying, you were quite fast. But I'm also too fast to talk. But thing is, when you are on the stage, managing your speed is actually quite powerful weapon. That's what I believe, and I hope you will work with yourself and realize that you have too much information, and you have to. Maybe that's the reason you have to put everything within this time limit, and maybe you don't have to work with too much information, but just stick to 3-4 points, and just work with that. It will be useful.
Great. And then coming back to Chingun again, I mean, I've said a lot of things already that I would just say again. A lot of it was excellent eye contact, confident, interacting with your opponents and what they've said. I take your point that what you were trying to identify, maybe the difference in what was actually being argued about. I understand what you're trying to say, and you were trying to make that very clear, and so I thought that was well done.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that I felt like you were reintroducing the motion again. And, for a second there, I also had to question myself, thinking, what are we talking about, right? So I think you did a very good job at redefining what the motion was for everyone. And also, you're very good at how you talk. Your choice of words is very good. Like, really, really good choice of words. It's, very good. Also, I kind of want to say, your use of poor. I feel like I've told you this last year as well, right? I don't know if it was your team, but the use of poor, poor can mean many different things. I feel like that could have been a better word choice, and also your word choice for big countries. Like, Mongolia is a big country, So I felt like, there wasn't much time to prepare, but just those little words could have made a huge impact on your entire argument. But overall, you're a very good debater.
Yeah, I completely agree, because I wrote down the same note.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah, that's the same note. You mentioned the examples, but not explained it in a simple way to understand. There's too much to work with to understand how you're going to, back up your understand the facts, because you strike very well, and then there's too much information, so I'm kind of lost then, right? Which is actually supporting. You can actually support with the quite few statements, and it will be really not enough. And how you're striking is quite pleasant to watch, and the word choice is really important as well, because poor and rich is a you said poor and rich countries, and then poor countries, that's how you went on. But instead you could have said developed and underdeveloped countries will be a good choice for the words. It will be, as she said, it can be in many different meanings. So developed, underdeveloped, in a different way. So since you are talking about economic issues, that will be a good choice.
And then, April, coming back to you again, I actually wanted to say something that I didn't say earlier, which was that you gave this specific attribution about IKEA. And I thought that was the one. That was the one I wanted to mention, that one at least was there in this debate. So that was very good that you did that. And so coming back to this end point, yes, you were confident again, good eye contact, there was structure to what you were trying to say. I think there's just one weakness to what you were trying to do was exactly what you started with. I understand you were trying to say that their position was incomprehensible, but what you said was you didn't understand it. And that to the audience says, you're saying you don't understand? Right? What you were really trying to say is that they had failed, but it sounded like you had failed. And I know that's not what you meant, right? So just be careful with how you're trying to express that idea and cast it on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I also agree. Like in the beginning, it felt a little messy, right? I understand that you have a lot of energy. You're very passionate about what you want to argue, right? But yeah, I also felt that I was a little bit confused with your word choice. I was wondering what exactly did you mean? Yeah, and I noticed that you tried to rebut most of everything since you were the last speaker, and I commend you for that.
Yeah, the same thing. You delivered your speech quite enthusiastically, which is good. You have good foundation, and you mentioned some facts. It's also quite relative to audience and with everybody else, even also within the topic. And the thing is, also you mentioned the facts from other team, and you posed it quite well. But as other judges were saying, it's kind of messy, and the structure was not there. That's what I felt.
Yeah.